I just smacked my wall.
So easy.
I don't know if I'm hallucinating or if I just killed the bug. Sirens on my end. Holy crap, Myles, how are you doing, man? How you doing?
It's good to be back. Good to be back.
It is so good to have you back.
It's been 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only missed. Well, you didn't do one last Friday anyway, so we've only missed like one Friday show. But you have the week leading up to it and the week,
Yeah.
After it. So 2 weeks, and 2 weeks feels like a long time.
It does. It really does, especially when you've got COVID. I'm sure life hasn't been nearly as fun or exciting as it usually is.
Life certainly slows down when you got COVID because every breath is like, oh, am I going to cough? Nah, not this time. All right. Let's wait for the next breath.
but just for everyone in the chat who doesn't know, you're starting to feel better. You're on your way back up to feeling okay.
Yeah, my promise for everyone today who's not seen it on Twitter already is, I'm not feeling 100%. So, the show might overrun by only 2 or 3 hours today. Not the usual 5. So
excellent. Yeah, we'll try not to keep you or anybody in Europe up too long tonight. All right, and on that note, man, let's start the show.
Let's go.
Whoops. That's not the right scene. That's the right scene. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. That's Tornado. I'm Brian Paula. That's Myles Dyer. How's everybody doing out there? Hopefully you're having a great Friday. We're here to entertain you the best we absolutely can. Dude, you're looking better. You're sounding better. I'm just really, really happy, man. I've heard lots of stories about a lot of people who don't recover nearly this fast, and
yeah, one of the symptoms I've had from COVID, which I haven't recovered from yet, is my smell has gone. And I have these essential oils, and they normally come out of this machine. It's a diffuser. And a friend of mine, Phil, gave me this one called Motivate, and it's mint and orange, and it's really strong. And normally I would do that, and that'd be enough. Now I can smell it a little bit, and I can feel the ethanol tickling the inside of my brain. I'm like, yeah, I should probably put that down now. So, but I didn't lose my taste because although, there's way worse symptoms you can get from COVID, taste was something I was kind of concerned about. But yeah, I've got a bit of brain fog. I've got fatigue that comes and goes. But a lot of the aching has gone in that. And as you say, the symptoms have a complete variety in how long they last for, the severity of them. And it's always, whenever you hear someone's got COVID, we want people to, have as little of the symptoms as possible and recover as quick as possible. And I feel kind of fortunate, but I'm not out of the woods yet. So, just thanks for all the love that's been sent my way because I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate all the love out there. Starting with Pietrek F with the 9 plantains says, after the price increase, I'm pretty sure PSVR2 is going to be $550. Woof! Boy, yeah, we're going to get to that in just 1 second, man. Emily Baxter, hashtag the cartoony witch game kitten with the $2 tip says, cartoony games suck. Weekend is now official. Yeah, we know your deal, Emily. We know your deal. But thanks for reminding us and all the cartoony game devs out there how much you hate what they make. All right, man. Do a little bit of housekeeping. Obviously, if you're not part of our Discord, click the link in the description below. Join our Discord. That's where you can leave viewer takeover questions. That we have the PSVR 1 and PSVR 2 release information out there. Not release information for PSVR 2, but all the information we do know and all the games that are confirmed. We also have places to ask any of the hosts any questions that you might have, and of course, it's just an awesome place for the community to hang out. And if you click the link in the description below, that brings you to Myles Dyer's YouTube channel with the now infamous URL, youtube.com/Myles. I'll never get sick of that.
One Y.
Make sure you subscribe to him and spread the love, and let all the awesome co-hosts I have here know how much you appreciate them by subscribing to their own channels and checking out what they're doing. Before we move on,
thank you. And I like that Snacks in the chat just said, Myles, please don't Dyer. I always said with my last name Dyer, I could never have been a doctor. I couldn't have been a surgeon. The idea that, Dr. Dyer is... I might as well just be called Dr. Death. Do you know what I mean? It's a horrible last name.
Firebird Old Scroll with the 100 Sekuros says this is towards the infected mushrooms. Yep, lots of black mold being taken care of. I appreciate the assistance on that. The other big piece of housekeeping that we should probably take care of before we start the show is that we just announced today that 1 week from tomorrow will be the great top 50 PlayStation VR game debate, which means the last couple debates I think have just been me and AJ like strangling each other, like cartoon style, like Homer and Bart style, right? Until one of us passes out and goes, "Ha, I win!" Right?
Yeah.
We're going to do it a little bit differently this time. Not only are we going to have the top 50 games instead of the top 25 games, we're going to have all of the Without Parole hosts all here. We're all going to come to the table with our own set of games, and we're all going to duke it out. This sounds chaotic, and I think it's going to be, but I also think it's going to move the process along a little bit faster. We won't have to send everything out to a vote to the cats. We'll be able to just do a quick little votes amongst ourselves and move on. I mean, this is going to be fun, don't you think, Myles?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and having been someone who's watched them in the past, as you say, if it's a one-on-one, you know, it means that if any of you have listed, you know, a game and it's had one vote, then it's up for debate. Whereas if there are any games that any of us list by ourselves, then it's probably going to get thrown out because the cutoff point with four of us is probably going to be any games that have two or more votes. So I think, yeah, that alone will speed it up a lot. But it will still be contentious, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as AJ says in the chat, hey, AJ, top 50 bloodbath. Yep. Baby. Is it going to be pay-per-view? You know, it's going to be like WWE, man. It's going to be hardcore. No, it's great, but it does mean that I have even more inspiration to get better because over the next week, I have a massive backlog of games that I just need to dive in. And a lot of them are horror games, which I'm just like the Blair Witch VR. I've had that on my PS5 for a while now, and I'm just so anxious at the thought of playing it. But you know what? Maybe this week I'm going to do a lot of streaming. So if people want to laugh at misfortune, yeah, subscribe to my channel because I'm probably going to do some VR streaming on there. And yeah, I can scream with you.
Nice. I love it, man. I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm going to watch you get scared and watch you and see what your impressions are. Some of these games that you haven't had a chance to get around to yet. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot more room for all the games that don't tend to make the lists. But here's the thing, you guys. I want to be very clear about this. If you've ever had a complaint about the top 25 list ever before, you have a chance right now to kind of be part of this thing. Not only can you show up live and voice your opinion in the chat, and when it comes to votes and when it comes to us debating about things, you can be there with us live as we make the list. But even more so than that, I want every one of you out there who has a hidden gem or a special game or whatever. Right? You just want to make your voice heard. If you're pissed that Resident Evil 7 keeps being number one on the top 25 list instead of Saints and Sinners, or if you want it the other way around, or if there's another game like Astrobot or Blood and Truth that you think should be number one, send me a short video showing your face. Talk about the game that you want. Tell me why you think it should be number one or why you think that a game should make the list. Show me your cat. Right? Who doesn't want to see your cat? And then I'm gonna make a montage of all these clips because, dude, the stream on that Saturday, it's Saturday, September the 3rd, that's going to be a long ass stream. That is going to be 5 hours minimum, probably 6 or longer. And so we're going to need some breaks. And so I'm going to put that video up and you guys are going to hopefully see yourselves and you're going to be able to, participate a little bit more actively in telling us about all of your hidden gems and shit that should be on the list. So please, withoutparole@gmail.com. Send just short little iPhone video clip or whatever it is. Doesn't need to be crazy. Doesn't need to be over the top or edited. Just show your face. Tell us who you are. Tell us the game that you want on the list. Be part of this, man. This is going to be a big event. This is like the second to last PSVR 1 list we're ever going to make. We're going to make one more in February, right before PSVR2 comes out, just to make sure it's totally all-inclusive. But we're so close. This is the penultimate list.
That's so cool, Brian. But what I would say is, although yes, we want people to show their faces, but some people don't like showing their faces on camera. So I would say, just say what game it is while wearing the PSVR headset. That's like a good compromise.
Oh, that's really good, yeah.
So that'll be the cover. It is quite hard to film yourself. There's a lot of times where I've tried to take a selfie of me wearing the headset, and then I like take the headset off, and then I realise I've been taking a photo of the ceiling, or like of my chin, which is why that's one of the top features on PSVR2 is the cameras. So I now can actually see the selfie.
Yeah,
that's probably what they were thinking about. No more chin photos.
Nope. Get the headset in the picture. Emily Baxter, hashtag the Cartoon English Game Kit with an additional $2 says, cartoony style top 50. Psh, that sucks. We also got Firebird Old School with another 100 Sekiros. It says, and have a happy Friday. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of our happy Friday. Hopefully you guys are all having a good time out there. Oh, man. All right, dude. Well, listen, let's get the show on the road. As I mentioned earlier, we've got an awesome Discord that you can join for free, and you can leave your viewer takeover questions, just like Orseek the See-Through GameCat did, where it's hashtag viewer takeover. I think most of us agree that Call of the Mountain will be a separate purchase instead of a pack-in game. But do you think PSVR 2 will come bundled with an Astrobot title showing off the orbs, sense controllers, and the haptics in the headset? Is this a no-brainer, Myles? I feel like we've said this a few times. Like, there's got to be some kind of Astro Playroom type thing that's going to introduce us to PSVR 2 and show us all the features, right?
Well, the studio director, Nicolas Doucet, was talking about how its next game is going to be the biggest to date about a week ago. I'm not sure if you covered it on the show, but, Team Asobi is back in the news. And the more I hear about it, the more I'm just like, yeah, it must be happening. And I think, I'm just trying to pull up an article here, but they were saying that it was always going to be focused around, celebrating, hardware and the technology. Yeah. And so yes, PlayStation VR was a huge thing for them to be a part of. So was the PS5. But I kind of feel like PSVR 2 is like the biggest opportunity for technical innovation. And so they'll want to be a part of it. So yeah, whether it's actually, it comes with it, I definitely think there will be a game at launch for sure. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope so. But I mean, how cool would it be if they just happened to have Astrobot Rescue Mission 2 ready for the launch of PSVR 2, and maybe that's what they're referring to. We're going to show you all of these innovations, but in a full-fledged actual game, rather than like a hour-long experience, something along those lines. I think I might even prefer that, to be honest, because I think I speak for all of us out there. We're dying for some more Astrobot. Game's awesome.
I think that's what they've done really good at showing, though, is whether they do the full-fledged games or the experiences, they've always been brilliant. And although we have a preference, it's not as if they don't do our preferred thing that we'll be disappointed. It's going to be awesome regardless. So, yeah, I think that's great.
It's very true.
Can I just say quickly, I know you've got on screen Fract playing at the moment.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy was talking on LinkedIn this week that it's been a year since the release of Fract.
Here's what I've realized in the last week or so. I have zero sense of time because...
That's what I mean. I couldn't believe it's been a year. Like, I was like, I feel like it was longer than that, or was it shorter? Yeah,
dude,
no idea.
The thing that blew my mind was recently Beat Saber tweeted about how it's been 2 years since the Linkin Park DLC came out. I was like, that can't be right. That literally feels like 6 months ago. Linkin Park?
Yeah.
2 years? I would have said Linkin Park was after Fract. Like, there's no way this makes sense in my brain.
Wow.
Yeah, the Mandela effect is real, man, and we are victims of it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Fract, because it was also Jimmy's first full game that he worked with at End Dreams, and as we always say again and again, amazing guy. He absolutely smashed it, and a real testament to what it is to be a real good community player. So yeah, really excited to see what they do with all Ghostbusters and all these other things. Like, it's really exciting.
Yeah, I would say that End Dreams, more than any other team, has more stuff cooking and more surprises up their sleeve. And so really can't wait to see what they have. They've got all these different studios now. They've got Studio Escalation that's supposedly making AAA VR games. Can't wait to see what that means. But, Myles, before we get to PSVR 2 and before we get to AAA by any stretch of the imagination, we have to we got to close out the PSVR 1 generation. And today we get an announcement from, I believe the team is called Meta 4 Interactive. Meta number 4, not simile metaphor. Meta 4 Interactive, who is making the new Transformers Beyond Reality game, and they gave us a new trailer and a release date on PSVR 1. A lot of people thought this was gone forever, and here it is. first and foremost, Myles, did you think this thing was ever coming out, or had you given up hope on it?
I don't know what I felt, because when it was first announced, I was like, I'm not personally a huge Transformers fan, but it's cool to have a big IP associated with VR. And then when the delays kept happening and it kept being kicked back, it went into that no man's land of maybe they've decided, you know what, we're just going to push it for PSVR2. So I kind of just stopped waiting for it. And so, yeah, I am surprised to hear that it is coming back now. And if it's going to be one of the closing big IPs for PSVR, I think that's awesome. And obviously interested to hear your thoughts on the trailer. Again, as someone who didn't have a huge care for this, and you sort of hear about it, you know, potentially being a rail shooter, it seems to have a lot more activity than just being a basic rail shooter. But I did notice in the trailer, it looked to me that the frame rate wasn't particularly smooth. And I know that might sound like such a petty thing to say, but I think of, like, in terms of movies, we've got the new Avatar 2 coming out at Christmas, and so they're re-releasing the first Avatar in the movies, right, or as we call over here in the UK, the cinema, because we're proper. And it's getting, like, you know, new digital remaster of the original Avatar, because it's like 12 years old. And then they put the trailer online, and it's 1080p, and I'm like, you're trying to showcase something that's, you know, been digital, you know, remastered for the big screen, and it's 1080p. Like, this is 2022, and so when I see game trailers for this, and I'm like, the frame rate doesn't look particularly great. Yeah. I understand it. Maybe they're just going, you know, we want to show a realistic look at the game because people complain otherwise that you've lied to them. But that was the only sort of negative thing that came to mind.
My guess would be something happened when they were rendering out the trailer because, you know, obviously PSVR games have to run at 60 FPS. Mostly, you know, we've certainly seen exceptions that don't make people happy, that don't make us happy. But I would say that anything we're seeing in the trailer that looks like a frame rate issue hopefully is not going to be present in the final game. Yeah. Hopefully, anything's possible. I mean,
what did you make, Brian, of the mixed reality intro? Because I know we spoke about this with the Twilight Zone trailer, and you said I think you said you're not usually a fan of mixed reality, but that bit at the beginning where the kid's there and it opens, well, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I'm not a fan of mixed reality trailers. This one more than most of them confused me because, first of all, they're using a V1 PSVR 1. It's like, you haven't upgraded yet, dude? Like, seriously? I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, listen, if this is just you've just really treated your original headset like that carefully, then awesome that you still have it. But my real question here is, why did they get like this kid looks like he's 9 years old. Looks like he's 9. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm assuming you're advertising this to adults, right? And it just seems strange to have a kid playing, you know, like, I don't know.
And how old are you supposed to be to play VR?
I think, I don't know, what did they say? 12, 13, 14? I forget what it is.
Oh my goodness. But this could be a scandal. Breaking news, scandal.
It's just an odd choice to me. It's like, you know, I would say most people who are into VR do skew slightly older, especially when it comes to PSVR. I think the Quest audience is a little bit more inclusive when it comes to age. PSVR 1, I think, you know, sold to adults more than anything else. And then slowly kind of worked its way down a little bit. So,
do you think that a part of the aim could be that they're thinking, a lot of people that own PSVR are older, but a lot of the owners have kids, and so they're thinking a lot of people are now looking towards PSVR 2, but if we angle it like this, they might go, actually, this will be a new game that my kid might like while we're waiting for the next headset, which is going to be in God knows how long, because, you know, we talk about time perception for kids when you're waiting for the next thing of like, what, Christmas is in a week? That's forever. So, you know, that could be a part of that calculation. But I'm with you. I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. You know, more than anything else, because obviously we're going to have our hands on this pretty soon. We're going to be able to review it for you guys and let you know what we think. So in the interim, I was a little bit more concerned about what some of you guys out there thought of it, and so I pulled a few comments from the trailer that I uploaded today. Kara Erdem says that's one ugly trailer.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, that's it. Like there was no prefacing it. There was no, hey, you know, I'm not really into Transformers, or man, I love Transformers. But no, it was just, that's one ugly trailer. The creative Kitsune says, about time. This is my most anticipated VR game of the year, which is like completely polar opposite. Nihilist Ryan, the game.
Sorry, how many games have there been this year though?
This is like the 7th. Yeah. Nihilist Ryan, the game feline, says, I was expecting just a straight up rail shooter, but the fact that there's obstacle dodging involved just made this way more interesting to me. Stoked. It's true. They are showing a few gameplay mechanics they hadn't shown off before. Some of these lasers or shots being fired across the street, you do have to dodge. So I think making this a little bit more of an active game seems like it'll, engage the pistol whip crew a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then Drew Finn says, it's cool that there are still games coming out, but this looks objectively terrible. I think this will be extremely boring and shallow, but we'll have to see what Brian says, though I'm pretty confident here. So it's been a very mixed reaction to the new trailer. So we'll have to see what happens. Luckily, it's not that far. What's up, bud? What's up? She keeps pawing my back.
And we don't know the price yet, do we?
We don't know the price.
I think that's going to be a big issue. I do think that, especially with the state of the economy at the moment, I know I've mentioned it on a previous episode, I think that pricing of whether it's consoles, which we'll get to in a bit, or games, I think it's a big deal. It's happening with The Last of Us Part 1, that remake. There's a lot of people that can't wait to play it, but paying $60 or whatever it is in the US, nah, I'll wait. I'm renting it. I love Naughty Dog. I'd love to support them. I'm not paying 60 quid for that. And so for this, because it has a big IP, that's likely to put the price up. Yeah.
I mean, I think when it comes down to VR games, there's a certain expectation when it comes to sales. You can't look at VR and say, oh, you're going to sell 5 million copies of this, and so we demand this much for the IP. I brought the VentureBeat article up. Unfortunately, it wasn't displaying properly, but in case you're not familiar, Metaphor Interactive this is their third Transformers game. It seems like the first two they made were arcade based, and so they must have a good relationship with Hasbro.
Yeah.
And so this might just be part of the bigger deal. So maybe it didn't cost them a fortune, or maybe there's a royalty deal in place. Who knows how that all works out? But hopefully this is 25 or under, because I just don't see anyone paying $30 for essentially a rail shooter at the tail end of lifespan. Everybody in the chat is correcting me on how old the kid looks. Geisen said he looks 12. Dr. Dan said 13. Genetic blasphemy. Or maybe they're saying this is how old you're supposed to be if you play VR. Maybe that's it.
Or maybe they're saying scandal averted.
Dr. Dan says, I think 15. Is this? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't associate with kids. That's not true. I have a niece and nephew, so I guess I do associate with kids. This kid looks younger than my niece and nephew, who are of age to play VR. I'll say that. Okay, let's tackle a few tips before we move on to the next news story. We got Don Can 94 with the 10 Chieftains. I think that's what that is. Says PlayStation Showcase on September 8th. September 1st would already be announced, normally 1 week in advance. So he's projecting that there'll be a showcase on the 8th, and then we'll hear about it on the 1st. I think that sounds pretty much in line with what everyone else is saying. September 15th is during TGS, where PSVR2 will be playable. By the way, you already booked your flight to Tokyo, Brian? And then he gives me another 2 Chieftains and says, Brian with a Y, not Brian with an I. Sorry, it's a long day at work. You don't ever have to correct yourself when you misspell my name. Most people just call me Paul. And I'm like, when I was 12, we all called each other by our last names, but I'll take Brian with an I over Paul, I guess. Does seem pretty likely. We've had this poll up, Myles, for a little while now, since before the show started, that says the question that we asked everybody was, will PlayStation VR2 get a big reveal at the PlayStation September Showcase? This is assuming, of course, that the rumored PlayStation Showcase is a real thing in September. Let's close up this poll and see the results. Let's check this out. It looks like we had 166 votes. I'm sorry, 167 votes. Oh, I have to end the poll by clicking that button.
But only 67 likes. Smash that like button. Sorry, it's all coming back to me now, how to do this.
Nice. Do you have the poll results on your end? Because
yeah, I do.
All right. Please tell us what the poll results were, because I can't see them.
Okay. That's cool. No worries. I've just put them in Discord as well.
Thank you.
Will PSVR 2 get a big reveal at a PlayStation September Showcase? There's 2 hypotheticals there. Yes, no, or I don't know anymore, cry emoji. So 5% of you said no.
Wow.
23% of you said I don't know anymore, and 70% of you said yes. Probably in that way, or maybe you just said yes. I don't know. Pure speculation there.
Sure.
Look, the way I feel about this, and I wish I had done a pizza bet on it. With all these events we've had since that first PSVR state of play,
Yeah.
I've been like, I'm not expecting them to show anything until September, and especially as has been mentioned in many conversations, including in the super chats, with this TGS showing of the actual hardware. And also the news that we had in the last week of them saying early 2023. And now there's the news about a new Meta headset coming out in October, right?
Yep, absolutely. The Quest Pro has been confirmed by Zuckerberg himself on the Joe Rogan podcast. And
was that actually when he did it?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, for me, it's I think regardless of what Meta were doing. I always want to say Oculus. It's so annoying.
Just call them Facebook. Let's be fair.
Yeah. I feel that they want this new headset to have the biggest audience possible. PlayStation doesn't take part in E3 anymore. They don't show it at a lot of these big summer events. One of the biggest gaming events of the year is the PlayStation Showcase, and it's kind of just the worst kept secret ever, because every year it's like, is there going to be one in September? It's been every September so far. They're going to be doing it again. You don't build that kind of momentum in expectation and then subvert that expectation by doing it in October instead. So yeah, I think an event is going to happen in September, and I do think that during that event they are going to have a significant showing of this PSVR2 headset. I mean, they want to have some good things to shout about. As well as, the fact that the prices have gone up for the PS5. This is going to be their big story to really push out there and blow people away. Because as we've said before, the people that have PSVR, we're sold on it already. It's now a question of how do they get, non-VR players on board. And that is a two-pronged approach. One, it's by showing incredible hardware with haptics and, all these features that will just look incredible in a demonstration of some kind. And secondly, it's about, as you've always mentioned, Brian, hybrid games. Destiny 2, Fortnite,
Grand Theft Auto,
Grand Theft Auto Online. Yeah, do you like these games? Well, they're all coming to VR. I think it's going to be a yes. I'm like 90% sure. Yeah. Only because 10% of me is like, yeah, Sony does sometimes, trip themselves up unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's for sure. We'll get to one of those news stories in just a minute. Naughty, what's up with the $2 tip? Says they're all lying, y'all. This looks a fool. And I'm assuming he's replying to our conversation about the Transformers VR game. And Pietrek. Dreamcastic channel with the $2 tip says prediction Transformers review will be a 2.5 out of 10. So there's definitely some speculation out there that this game is going to suck. And in first impressions, that it looks like it does suck. I will reserve judgment. I mean, if you want,
shame it's not going to be out just before in time for the top 50 debate. But
it's going to be out just in time. It's going to be out the day before.
Oh, is it just in time?
Or two days before? Yeah.
Oh, 2 days. Okay, yep. So it could sneak in.
It could.
Dark Horse beats Resident Evil 7.
Listen,
oh my goodness.
I've said this from the beginning. If I play a Transformers game, I really want to play as a Transformer. I cannot believe that they decided to let you play as a human running around on street level. Well, and I get it, and I did see in this VentureBeat article that their reasoning for it is that they want to present a sense of scale. You want to be little and make these Autobots and Decepticons fighting near you look gigantic, and that you can only do that if you're human size in the game. But to me, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be the same size as them and walking around like we did in Archangel in this big hulking, Transformer bot or whatever. Transformer bot. I think I just made something up. But they already went from the very beginning, from a game design standpoint, in a completely different direction than I would have expected them to. So now it's on them to be like, prove to me that this was the way to go, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Trek F with a 9 plantain says there won't be a showcase as Sony has nothing to show. Womp womp womp. Dude, they haven't announced anything in forever. Do you know how much secret stuff is? It must be piling up over at Sony. They're like, we got to start telling people about some of these games before they leak. Like, there must be they've got so many first party studios, and we know about so little that's being worked on over there. I mean, unless they're just paying people tens of millions of dollars to do nothing, then I don't know how they've got nothing to show.
Do you know a bold idea I had about this showcase, probably when I was having a COVID fever dream, was the idea of what if Insomniac at this showcase, they do this Spider-Man 2 game, and then they say we've got more to show about Wolverine, and it's revealed that Wolverine is actually a VR game. Like, I know we've talked about it having a VR component, but
like you're saying, it's not a hybrid game. It is a VR PSVR2 exclusive game.
Yeah.
That'd be actually pretty fucking cool.
I think that would be cool. I think it would be a hybrid game, but it could be a game that is, when we think of hybrid games in terms of what's going to bring people over, it's about flat screen games. Excuse me. Flat screen games that are also now going to be in VR, but actually you also want games that are VR led that can also be played flat screen. We do have some of them. I mean, The Persistence is a great example of it. If Wolverine turned out to be like, we've built this for VR, you can play it flat screen as well, but we know what you're going to want to do as Wolverine. You want to shing, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. We're big dreamers over here.
Like that.
We're big dreamers, and really hoping that Sony has to have our back to a certain extent. If they know what went wrong during the PSVR 1 generation, and if they thought that PSVR 2 was going to have the exact same success as PSVR 1 by doing the exact same thing they did with PSVR 1, they would have never fucking made PSVR 2, right? So definitely expect to see whatever the hell they've got planned, because no multi-billion-dollar corporation would follow the same business model as a failed product. And with 6 million sold or 5 million sold, technically, despite the fact that it's VR and it was a big first step, still is not. Those are not good numbers. So they're taking a different approach this time. They have to. Nobody wouldn't. And so I think they're about to show us what that approach is. And I think they've got a lot of surprises along with that announcement, along with that explanation.
You never know. Hideo Kojima could be releasing a podcast that you can listen to in VR. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Hey, Myles.
Sorry, can I just say that was the funniest thing from the other day?
It really was.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. He's just the biggest troll.
He
knew it as he was saying it, and you hear Jeff Keighley laughing about it as well. And like, he's like, I am that much of a boss that I know everyone is dying, and he just starts off and goes, "Oh yeah, I'm working on a couple new games, but the thing I really want to announce is I've got a new podcast." That I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
it's almost as funny as Abandoned. But we won't.
I haven't lost hope for Abandoned, but we'll talk about that.
I just deleted it off my PS5 to make space.
No, I'm never deleting Abandoned. That'll be the new PT. Except people will be like, "But there's nothing to play." I'm like, "I know, but I need to hold on to hope."
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, the next big story is that Capcom announced that Resident Evil Village at TGS next month. Was that the 15th? I think 15th to the 18th. I might have got my dates wrong. Is going to be playable at Tokyo Game Show on PlayStation VR 2. Like, you're going to actually be able to put the PlayStation VR 2 on your head, hold the Sense controllers, and play a PSVR 2 game. You're going to be able to play Resident Evil Village at Tokyo Game Show. Now, this is mid-September, October, November, December, January, February. So 5.5 or so months before we even are before the regular consumer is able to get a PlayStation VR 2 retail. Dude, this is kind of crazy, right? This anybody who's not excited about this news is out of their fucking mind. This is kind of amazing. Are we going to go? Are we going to go to Tokyo and go play this thing?
Tokyo is a place in the world I've always wanted to go to.
Me too, yeah.
This would be a great reason for it. Look, Do you know what though? You'd go out there and probably the queue would be so big you wouldn't even get a chance to play it. It'd be so frustrating. But it does remind me that in the lead up to the PS5 launch, I know that Sony did a lot of quite a few events with influencers and that in Japan as well. And I kind of feel that a part of that calculation, because I know there were like live streams on YouTube that we were all watching to see, you know, some insight into the PS5, even though we had no idea what they were saying. And I kind of feel like it's a great test case for Sony because, you know, it's obviously a vibrant, you know, gaming community, but it's not a mainstream global one. So they could do it there first, and as opposed to if they did it in the States, I think there'd be a lot more fighting over it of people trying to get access and, you know, to it. So I think it makes sense as a move. And yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say other than I would love to go to Tokyo. Just...
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. It's there's so much that I want to experience about this. I mean, the thing is, in my head, it's like I haven't even really processed this properly, and I think you can see me processing it right now as we have this conversation. I've expected that the first time I was ever going to be able to play PSVR2 would be the day that Amazon delivers it on release day delivery, right? Where it shows up the same day everybody else gets it, and I put it on my head, and I just fucking go to work, and I start reviewing games and covering games and streaming games and doing all of that, and then to find out that it's actually going to be somewhere available to play prior to that, in like almost half a year prior to that, it sort of like makes my heart stop and go, what do I need to do to be able to play this, right? This is really like kind of the most exciting thing in my life. No offense. Yeah. So I'm like, I've got to figure out like either how to do this or what to do. But that's, I'm super excited. And it leads to more questions than anything else, I think, right? Because it is a little bit weird that the first time anyone's going to be able to play a PSVR 2 headset on a PlayStation VR 2 headset is going to be somewhere other than a PlayStation booth. It's going to be at a Capcom booth. Right. Yeah,
because PlayStation's not going to be there officially. Yeah.
So, is that they are officially not going to be there? They've stated this.
I believe that's what I've heard. Yeah, right, because they're not going to.
Because Peepo, the mistaken NDA cat, I just added the cat over on Discord, left in the viewer takeover question channel. That's right. With the recent announcement of Resident Evil 8 being playable in VR at Tokyo Game Show, do you think Horizon may be playable there as well and just not announced yet? And do you think this is the only PSVR 2 game we're going to see there?
Yeah, I think, you know, we know that PlayStation have, you know, strong connections. When they're not at certain events, they get Square Enix to do a showcase where they announce, you know, the next Final Fantasy VII game. So yeah, it's also been confirmed that Resident Evil 4, the PS5 remake, is not going to be at that Capcom place either.
Interesting.
So they're not showing that. So the focus is all on this. But yeah, my understanding is that the PlayStation won't be there. I'm just trying to see if I can get confirmation.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm like 80% sure about that.
All right. Man, and everyone is definitely speculating about some prices on the PSVR 2 headset as well. And everybody's jumping to Tornado's defense.
The last thing I want to say on this, though, Brian, is when you're talking about, like, you know, you'd love to go out there and do it. My straight away thought is, are they actually going to have a sealed booth, or is it one of those conventions where you put the headset on, you have headphones, and yes, you're in the game, but you can also hear the noise of the convention. Yeah. It's never the same as in the comfort of your home. It's just you know, and I know you know that, but it's like, that's going to be how you want to first experience it. Now, if it was a game like Horizon Call of the Mountain, then I'd be like, actually, yeah, I do want to be the first to experience it. But because it's a game that's already out, I think that does play into it in terms of fantasizing about whether or not I'd want to make the trip out there. But yeah,
I just want to see what things look like in a PSVR2 headset. I want to see the 110 degrees FOV. I want to, see how
Yes.
much of a difference does that make from the 100 FOV on PlayStation VR 1. I want to see this, 4K display with texture resolution that is this high. Something that just really couldn't be done prior, except, on PCs, obviously. But then this was only done with a mod on PC. I want to see what Capcom themselves did when they made their own version of their own game specifically to be played on this headset. I want to feel those sense controllers. I want to pick items up. I want to feel feel what those adaptive triggers do for my sense of tangibility when I reach out and grab something in a game. It's an entire experience that, regardless of what game you're playing, I think is something that you're only going to be able to understand fully once you've done it yourself. And so I've had a few cats be like, "Hey, I'm in Tokyo or I'm in Japan and I'm going to the show. What can I do for you?" And I'm like, "Well, by all means, report back for us. However, it's just not for me. It's not going to be enough, right? Like,
Sure.
I need to do this firsthand in order to really understand."
We just see loads of footage of people taking the headset off and going, "Actually, I'm going back to my Oculus Quest 2."
Yeah, what is this? This is nothing.
The wire is just kills the immersion.
Right. Resident Evil 4 is better. Yeah.
But we can't understate the significance that Capcom is being given the opportunity to showcase the PSVR2 first publicly. Like, yeah, we know that they have a good partnership with Sony, but that's huge. Absolutely huge that they've been given that.
Yeah.
I've always believed, like many people, that Capcom and Square Enix are likely acquisitions by PlayStation, and this kind of thing makes me think it's we're getting even closer to that, or at least getting closer to a deal kind of like that was done with Bungie, which is, yeah, we're acquiring you, but we're letting you still run as your own studio. But yeah, the fact that Capcom are able to be the first in the world to showcase it says a lot about that relationship, which I think is exciting as well.
Yeah.
Because it shows you that they're clearly going to be working on a lot of other VR projects.
I agree. And dude, Capcom also showed off all that DLC for Village recently, and they showed it third-person mode, whatever. Really, really hoping that eventually, I do feel like the way that that Capcom's going to make some extra money off of people is by saying, "Oh yeah, totally upgrade, your PS4 version to the PS5 version of Village, and then the PS5 version completely playable in PSVR2." That was all subsidized by Sony. Sony gave them millions of dollars to make this on PSVR2. Great, but then they've already been very clear that it's the core story. It's the original release that's playable on PlayStation VR2. And so they're gonna get money from us anyway, because we're all gonna buy the DLC once they make it playable on PSVR2. It's gonna be very, very cool. But anyway, let's get a couple tips, and then we'll get into the main story of the day. Old Dart, the PSVR2 gaming hound dog with the Canadian $2 tip, says, "Has Sony ever mentioned hybrid gaming? It's a must." No. In fact, I gotta say, I found it a little bit strange for certain places to not think that I have any credibility when it came to the Q1 2023 release date, and either just ignored me completely or did whatever they felt like they had to do in regards to that story. And a lot of people just ignored the fact that I said it. But then they jumped on the hybrid game thing that, again, I was the only person to leak from the developer summit back in August. Last August. And so I was the person who talked about hybrid gaming first. No one else has ever leaked it firsthand. And then everybody jumped on the hybrid thing and was like, "Oh, well, this is Sony's model. This is what they're doing. This is..."
Yeah.
Right? And so I always felt that was a little bit weird. People are picking and choosing which of my leaks they feel like believing. So hey, it's nice that the hybrid thing caught on more than Q1 2023, but look what came to fruition first, and that was Q1 2023. Sony's never said anything publicly about the hybrid model, and so my big question is this something they'll actually talk about? Are they going to get on stage and use the term hybrid model? Are they going to show the difference? Hey, here's Grand Theft Auto 5 being played on a flat screen in third-person mode, and then this is what we mean by hybrid, and then they go, boom, and now you're in first person, and you've got two hands in the game, and they say, look, this was built from the ground up for VR. Like this, you would never know that this was a flat screen game. Or is that just going to be this internal thing where they say, hey, we're going to make all these hybrid games. We're going to work with developers to make their games hybrid and playable on PlayStation VR2 and feel like they were built from the ground up for VR? Or is it going to be this public thing? I have no fucking idea. But I do know officially that it's part of their business model. But no,
Jim Ryan's going to come out with a clicker, and he's going to say that the lights are going to dim, and he's going to go, "Ladies and gentlemen, the 21st century philosopher Brian Poole coined this term, hybrid games." Clicks it, and we're going to show you what this magic is right now. And then that's how it goes into it. The music starts swelling, and that's it. That's it, Brian. That's what's going to happen.
I didn't coin the phrase, though. Sony coined the phrase. I'm just telling you what they said. Oh, Jim Ryan, can't you do anything right? We also get Shades of Grey Matter with Canadian $2 tip that says TGS Travel Fund. Oh, thank you very much for building a travel fund. Genetic Blasphemy, the Talk Positive Squid Cat with the $2 tip says TGS Travel Fund. Thank you very much.
It's happening.
It is.
It's happening.
I'm getting there $2 at a time. You guys are the best.
You can now get a bag of peanuts for your flight.
Yeah. If I don't go, are you guys going to come after me and be like, I want my $2? Waleed is now a GameCast, specifically White Tiger of the Canadian $5 says, I think media is exaggerating the PlayStation 5 price increase. In Canada, it's up from $629 to $650, a minor currency adjust. Today, $500 equals 646 Canadian, but still petty from Sony. I think that's probably a good segue into our main story here, and that is that the PlayStation 5 this week, everywhere but North America, I believe, right? No, I'm sorry, everywhere but the U.S. got a price hike. Are you crying?
You know, we always like to talk about differences between the US and the UK.
Well, you do.
Like
I just smile. And
no, I do. Yeah. And you do. Well, now we can talk about a real difference. Jim Ryan, man. Yeah, I just look, I've got a PS5, but I do feel for people that have been struggling to get one. And what I love is Nintendo confirmed it a few hours ago that they have no intention on putting the prices up.
Same with Microsoft.
I think Microsoft is. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So Microsoft and Nintendo have decided to do nothing and come out on top.
Yeah.
So well done, Sony. Look, the thing is about Sony, some people will describe this as, this is Sony being like on the PS3 days and making all these mess ups.
I did.
The truth is, the PS5 has sold incredibly well.
Right.
And PlayStation, when it comes to console sales, is still an industry leader. Yes, the price increase is going to upset some people. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're someone that wants a console, if you're going to have to pay an extra, I think in the UK it's going to be 20, 30 pounds more, you're going to do it. You're going to bite the bullet. And when you start enjoying games, it's going to be worth the price hike. There is going to be some bad press. And this comes at a time where in the news also, I think Sony's been sued for like $5 million for ripping off UK consumers. So you have all these things going on. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it is going to hurt Sony that much. What I do think is interesting is what I've mentioned again and again is the idea that this Christmas, Sony wants to sell as many consoles as they can so that they widen the funnel on how many people are going to be adopters of PlayStation VR2.
Yeah.
Arguably now, that's going to chip away at that. But if supply is at max, it is maxed out at the moment, and they're just still selling everything that they produce, then arguably they can do this. That's the fact.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of the facts, let's get the facts straight, right? And so I jumped over here to the PlayStation blog post that details all of the stuff. It says PlayStation 5 price to increase in select markets due to global economic environment, including high inflation rates. And this is, of course, from Jim Ryan, President and CEO and Grandmaster of all things hated over at Sony Interactive America. It says it basically says the global economic environment is challenging. Many of you around the world are no doubt experiencing. We are seeing global inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers, creating pressure on many industries. Based on these challenging economic conditions, Sony Interactive Entertainment has made a difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price, RRP, of PlayStation 5 in select markets across Europe, Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, Latin America, as well as Canada. There will be no price increase in the United States. And so then they go and list off pretty much, all the increases here. And it does range from $20 to $50 roughly, depending on which console you're buying. You're buying the disc free or the disc drive version. If you're buying, and of course which territory you live in as well. So it's it does vary from place to place. Obviously the first thing that a lot of people pointed to was, is this the same as the Quest 2 price increase? And I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong, because when we talked about the Quest 2 price increase, I was like, this is bananas. 2 years after the hardware came out, now they're raising the price by $100. This is ridiculous. Sony would never do this. It was bananas, right? And this is similar, but it's also not the same, right? The Quest was $300 and they raised it 33%. Right? This is a very small percentage. Now, and I want everybody to be very clear here. I'm not defending this move. I think this move is fucking terrible. I think this makes Sony look bad. But if you can't compare it 1-to-1 with the Quest price hike, because even on the Quest, they increased the price of all the accessories as well. Right? You're not seeing the price of games go even higher. You're not seeing your DualShock price go even higher. You're not seeing your accessories go even higher. It's $20 to $50 for the console. Period. That is it. Now, I still really hate this, Myles. I think this was handled really, really poorly. And the number one reason is, I think if you're going to raise the price on something 2 years after launch, at least give people a little advance notice. Right. And on top of that, make sure that it's readily available on their store shelves, that they had a chance to purchase it sometimes in the last 2 years before. Right. Don't say, hey, that thing that you've been desperately trying to get and you've been watching websites and signing up for queues on the PlayStation Direct and clicking links on Amazon, waiting for their emails and getting nothing for almost 2 years. That thing you've been desperately trying to get. Well, now when you do finally get it, it's going to cost you more. No. Wait until it's readily available in all territories and then say it. And then on top of that, give us the heads up, man. On top of it, give us 2, 3, 4 weeks and say, hey, just want to let you know that we really don't want to have to do this, but we have to do this. And so, on November 1st, we're going to increase the price of PlayStation 5. So do everything in your power to get it ahead of time.
Or, I think that's a great point. Or the people that have signed up for the waiting list on Sony's site, we're going to do it at the original price. Absolutely great points, Brian, and absolutely this makes them look terrible. There's a lot of things they've done where they've then had to backtrack. I don't think it's going to be one of those occasions. But you know what they could also do is, if it really is the fact, and also we know that they lose money on consoles anyway, and it's getting to a point now where they can't lose this much. Right.
And Myles, just to add to that, if they were even breaking even or losing a little bit or whatever it was 2 years ago, it does seem like the price of components has gone up. Sorry, really loud sirens on my end. It seems like the price of components have gone up, so they are, if they were losing any amount, they're losing a little bit more now than they were before. Yes. And I'm sure with all these new manufacturing deals, in order to get more PlayStation 5s out there, it costs them more money to do so, right? If you're going to be the only person, that's getting your console out onto the market, there's going to be a price to pay. Sadly, they passed that price on to us.
Yeah. And that's why I feel that Sony have an opportunity here to subsidize this with throwing in some free games. So they go, right, we are going to put the price up, but when you buy it, you're going to get these 2, 3 games that you got, or we'll give you 6 months of PlayStation Plus free, memberships. Yeah. Just something there which has huge value for the consumer, but isn't actually going to cost them a lot to do. Yeah. You could say, it's going to be the opportunity cost of, if they're getting PlayStation Plus, they might buy less games. But if that's what gets them through the door to buying a console, I just feel like they could have done something like that. But look, again, every time we have these conversations, Sony has a big marketing team. They have a sales team. They are running the numbers on a macro scale. hundreds of millions of consumers. They do their testing, and they will know, yeah, we're going to take a hit of this, but we're going to get a gain of this. And that's how they measure it. And they will probably be absolutely fine with this. And it's a shame.
Got a couple tips here. Luca Stemberger with the $5 tip says, now the PlayStation 5 will cost exactly the same in the US. Before the increase, it was cheaper in the UK. They're both $550 now, $550 with taxes. All right. Yeah, I mean...
But we're not the same. We're not the same.
Dude, I mean, like, seriously, I would love to say that everything should cost the same in every single country, but because of import fees and the way different governments are run, it's almost impossible, right? It's almost impossible for that to be the case, and that sucks depending on where you live. But also, I don't know the intricacies of every single one of those deals and every single one of those governments and every single one of those economies. So, do I think that that it should cost more in one place than another? Fuck me if I know, man. Ask an economist. That's definitely not that's not what we do here on the show, right? What we do is look at what Sony is doing and respond to it, right? Now, I will say, so let's in the breaking news report that I put out, there's some very, very interesting responses. And my favorite one has to be from Graziano De Martino, who says, do you honestly think yourself or anyone else here in the comments section understands or knows how to run a company better than one that's been around since 1994? Also, I have no idea what company he's referring to, because Sony's been around way fucking longer than 1994. But so he must be referring to some other brand. He says, and can offer reasons as to why they should have not made any financial business decision that would be valid. Love your stuff, man, but this is pretty LOL, which I think is the LOLest comment I've ever gotten. Also, it's like around $50 more, not like $2,000 to $3,000 more. Why the saltiness? Now, first of all, I didn't have any saltiness in that breaking news report. All the saltiness came from Graziano himself. So thank you very much for contributing salt to my diet. But
can we just say that the financial element is something that they could benefit them. But we live in a world, especially today, with a lot of injustice in corporate America, corporate Britain, which feels weird to say because we don't have a term like that. But there's a lot of lashback at companies that are putting profits above everything else, and people want to see a sense of loyalty and care to people that they've built a business over a long period of time, but a lot of us have been loyal customers of them for 20 years. And it's all about the context. As Brian had mentioned, there are people that have been trying to get their hands on a console for 2 years now and still can't. And now they're being punished even more now, because it's like, you've had to wait. You've had to spend all this time and energy trying to find one. You've probably been messed about by scalpers and stuff, or scammers. Yep. Oh, and now we're going to put the price up. And I just wanted to quickly say, because Don Can 94 in the chat said Astrobot's Playroom and PS5 collection is already there for PS5 buyers. Totally agree. Yeah. My point is, that was what happened when the PS5 came out. If you're going to put the price up even more, I think that there should be some other sense of goodwill, which could include PlayStation Plus that gives you access to that collection for those 6 months or what have you.
Yeah. Here's what I don't get, man. Here's what I don't get. And now again, I don't run a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but what I almost understand the move that Facebook made more than the move that Sony made. Because if the prices have gone up so much that you actually have to raise the price by $100, right? Not 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, right? Then it's like, okay, wow, you really must be losing a shitload of money. You must have to make so much. It's almost like I understand why the Quest prices had to been raised, because $100 is a big amount of money, and you can't be losing that much on every single headset. That's fucking insane, right? Especially when we know the attach rate on Quest isn't terribly great, so they're not making that money up anywhere. We kind of get it, right? But when it's just $20 or 30 or 40, as Graziano said, he's like, it's not a big deal because it's only a few bucks. I was like, well, then why? Sony is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They have all sorts of revenue streams. They have all sorts of ways to make up this loss on consoles. They sell TVs. They sell, I don't know what else they sell, man. Do they sell cell phones? I don't fucking know, because who cares? I don't buy anything Sony other than PlayStations. But they sell a lot of other stuff. And if you just raise the price on everything across the board by like this small margin, each of your TVs you charge, $15-$20 more for, something you would never even notice, because those prices vary all the time. Or my big thing, I'm such a retro gamer that I don't have a great way to play my PS1, PS2, and PS3 games. Sell me a device. Sell me the PlayStation 1 through 3 device, right? And charge me, it probably costs them $50 to make. Sell it for $200, right? Sell me something to get your money. Sell me something, right? Don't just arbitrarily raise the price on something that you can't find. Sell me something that you can make. And charge a few extra bucks for it. I would, dude. So many retro gamers along with me would buy this PlayStation that plays PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games, right? That outputs to HDMI that you can play on HD TV. That looks great. There's so many other ways that Sony could have handled this and saved face and not had to have looked like the bad guys. The only company out there that's raising the price on their console. Quest doesn't count. They look like the bad guys, and all I'm saying is that there were so many other ways they could have worked around this, and I would love to have been a fly on the wall during that meeting where they said, we have to raise the price on PS5s, and did any of those people in that meeting go, whoa, this is a bad idea, this is going to make us look bad, this is going to make us look like the thing that people keep telling us that Sony's looking like, the PlayStation brand is looking like. We are looking like the out-of-touch, tone-deaf corporation that we were at the beginning of the PS3 era. And now we're just going to add fuel to that fire? I mean, they better have some big fucking plans for this Sony showcase to alleviate all of this, because this just makes them look bad. That's all I'm saying.
The term that you used that was at the tip of my tongue was the out-of-touch element. And it's something that has been a long-standing issue with Jim Ryan and the way that Sony has organised itself. Now, Jim Ryan has done a lot of amazing stuff. This isn't like... to be disparaging about the successes he's had and the amazing stuff that they've done as a company. They've done lots of things. Yeah. But as someone who wants to stand by PlayStation, sometimes, it's a lot harder to criticize your friends than it is your enemies, although I don't really get involved in the console wars in that way. I mean, look, in the last hour, 47 minutes ago, Phil Spencer from Xbox responded to Naughty Dog, who had done a post on Twitter about the fact that The Last of Us Part 1 features 60-plus accessibility options to ensure you may play your way. And what has Phil Spencer said in response to that? Really impressive to see the accessibility focus from Naughty Dog. The studio continues to innovate release after release, making their games playable by more gamers. Inspiring work, Neil Druckmann and team. And then Neil Druckmann responds with a cowboy clip of Top in the Hat. I love that solidarity. I love that. We know Xbox are in competition with PlayStation. We've always known this. And we know that sometimes things get heated and there is, they do throw remarks at each other because they are big multi-billion-dollar companies that are competing. But I've always had huge respect for the way that Phil Spencer carries himself. Yes, it is a brand. Yes, there is a tactic to it. But although I've never had an appeal towards Xbox, there are certain games like Halo that I've never played that I would like to. Halo VR would be pretty cool. I've always respected Phil Spencer, and I just wish that PlayStation, as you said, felt more in touch and were a part of that community. And was it Sean Layden who used to be with Sony?
Yeah.
I remember when he took to the stage at the Game Awards, Video Game Awards, with was it Reggie from Nintendo and Phil Spencer from Xbox? The three of them took to the stage at the same time, and they did this solidarity piece about gamers coming together, and it was a really powerful moment. And I just want to see more of it. I think that this, for all the business reasons that it's going to work for, and it might be that they had no choice but to do it, but the way the blog post was done didn't feel like they were talking in a very human way. It was just kind of like, we're doing this, it's unfortunate, but deal with it.
And then finished by saying, thanks for your continued support. Just
right. Yeah.
Wait.
not that we promise. We know that. We know this is undesirable with the current economic crises that we're seeing. However, we are going to do all we can to make sure that for those that do manage to invest, we will stand by you with other great offerings to make up for this. Something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been ideal. But I don't work for PlayStation, so
no.
I'm going to stop saying stuff before they start, taking my ideas and not paying me a consultancy fee.
Right. Now, I mean, this doesn't even affect us. This doesn't affect us.
No.
You and I both have our PlayStation 5s. You would have been affected because you live in the UK. I wouldn't have been affected anyway because I live in the US. I'm just saying this could have been handled much, much differently. Like, again, $20 to $50 is not a huge deal. We've seen inflation happen all across the world for the last, since the beginning of time, and everything's getting more expensive. But generally, things that are already, like you set a price for a console, that doesn't go up over the course of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years. It's not how it goes. The prices on components usually comes down, and then they end up making more money on that console. One of the things they could have done is know that in the future they're going to be making money on this console, making more money on this console, and take the loss now and expect the profits later. There's so many different ways they could have handled this, and the fact that anyone kind of defends this is shocking to me. I mean, we're just when you allow a multi-billion-dollar corporation to step on you over and over and over and say, "Please, more, sir, can I have some more?" Like then you end up in the PlayStation 3 era. You end up with shit that you don't want, and you end up with the reason I'll tell you this, Myles. And this will be the last thing I say on the topic. I swear. The reason I'm so upset is because I've been a huge PlayStation fan since the very first PlayStation. It has been my favorite place to play games. I've loved the PSP, I've loved Vita even, but PS1, 2, 3, 4, the whole ride. In PS5 I have because of PlayStation VR2, and I really do think that PSVR2 is one of the last big chances that VR has at being a mainstream success anytime soon. If PSVR2 is a massive failure, sure, in another 5-6 years, maybe someone else will come along and do something right. But this is the last chance we have today for VR to catch on, become mainstream. Sony IPs are going to help make that happen. And I see this company that I love really floundering a little bit, getting to that point. And it's been a difficult 2 years to wait for PlayStation VR2 and see them kind of stumble more and more the closer we get to it. Makes me really fucking nervous, and that's why I'm upset. If anyone else doesn't know why I'm upset, that's why, right? I love video games. I love VR, and I love Sony. No one should love a corporation, but I just said it. I fucking love Sony because of all the entertainment they brought me through the years. And this just scares me. That said, Myles, if you look at what I have up on screen here, CNBC has posted this. An analyst, Ampere Analysis, estimates that Sony has sold 21 million PlayStation 5s worldwide compared to Microsoft's Xbox Series consoles selling around 13.8 million, which is a huge difference. I would have said it was closer to 1-to-1 this generation. Harding Rolls said that he does not expect this to put off gamers wanting to buy a PlayStation 5 given demand remains high. This is a quote. It says, while we believe that there will be disappointment for some consumers that have been trying to buy a PS5 without success or that have been saving to buy the console just in time for the price to increase. The high pent-up demand for Sony's device means that this price increase of around 10% across most markets will have minimal impact on sales of the console. We expect Sony's sales forecast for the PlayStation 5 to remain unchanged. And if you guys know, the sales forecast they have for PlayStation 5 right now is astronomical. They expect to sell more between now and the end of the year than more. I mean, the numbers they have projected are just like twice the number of that they've sold prior. So pretty impressive. And if this turns out to be true, then kind of amazing that they'll be able to weather this storm kind of unscathed.
Yeah, the thing I'd say about this, and by the way, Brian, there's a lot of people demanding in the chat that we do a poll on this topic.
Oh,
people say we should do they want to do a poll on will the price hike impact PS5 sales. I think that's what they want. I'll make my point while you're drafting that up. I love that there's such high demand in the chat for a poll. We demand a poll. You're telling your thoughts in the chat. But I love this. But yeah, look. If this was a one-off thing, I think it would be a non-story, and we wouldn't say a lot. It'd be like it's a shame, and yeah, it's annoying. But it's because it's this. There's a repeated pattern that we're seeing with them just making consumer hostile decisions that are a real shame. And yeah, that's all I've got to say on it, really. So yeah, doesn't affect me. It's not going to affect a lot of people, but I do feel for the people it is going to affect. And I just feel that the way that it was, regardless of what the decision was made, the way the decision was handled or executed and the way it's being communicated, those two aspects, execution and communication, that is where there's a cause for concern, because that is a part of strategy. And strategy isn't just about the pricing of PS5. It's about how they're going to release the PSVR2. It's about how they make decisions around expanding their studios. It's how they expand their IPs. Depending on how they're going to use those IPs for movies. This all becomes a part of it. And so I think it's important, as huge lovers and supporters of the brand, that we have these discussions about the negatives as well as the positives, because it all comes from a place of love, right? Foremost.
Absolutely. So this poll and actually a viewer takeover question we have from Discord is we're all heading toward the same question right now, and that's from Triple R El Guapo Game Gato. He's a handsome game cat. Viewer takeover. With the recent news about the PlayStation 5 price increasing around the world, what impact do you guys think this will have on PSVR 2 pricing? In the past, $400 seemed like the sweet spot for PSVR 2. Could this news pave the road for a $500 PSVR 2?
Well, what if the price increase is actually so they don't have to put up
right
the PSVR 2? Look, I'm still convinced it can't be higher than $500. So, and I've always mentioned again and again that for UK pricing, it's not going to be lower than $350. So, $399 in the UK, $450 in the US. I think that's a real possibility. $449 UK and then $499 in the US. Yeah, I think it's going to be between $400 and $500. That's what I think it's going to be. It's not going to go above 500. I think if it does, I think it's a big mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, in my book, can't go over 400. 400 to me, not only was acceptable, but also the highest end of acceptable.
Interesting.
And so I really don't think, I just don't think that there's a way to, again, this is Sony's way to get VR into the mainstream, and we already know what the sweet spot for the mainstream was. It's the reason Quest 2 sold so well. It's $300, right? I'm not saying PSVR 2 has to sell at $300, but 400 is about the maximum you can be at before you just totally price everyone out of the market entirely. I think it's going to be, I think, yeah, if they go over 400, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
All right. Did I do the poll right? I feel like some people in the chat wanted me to change the poll, or they had a different poll or something. Did I do the poll?
I think you have to do a third poll, Brian. Did I do the poll right? Did I do the last poll
yes,
right?
No. All right. But with 71 votes, will the PS5 price hike affect the PSVR 2 price? The answer, 57% of you said yes, and 43% of you said no. So pretty split. We'll see. And yes, Luca, we understand that when it comes down to semantics, the PS5 price wasn't technically raised; it just was adjusted. Let's end the poll because we got to move along, dude. I want to get one more tip out there, and then we'll get on to 20 questions. We got Waleed is now a GameCast, specifically White Tiger. Rare with Canadian $5 tip says, honestly, Brian, but by the way, spelled with an I. I think that was intentional. Says, you should set up a TGS travel fund Patreon tier. We all would love to sponsor it so you could report your hands-on first impressions. I'll think about it. Dan Keeper says, do people like polls? Do a poll on it. Thank you guys so much. You're all fucking awesome. And I know there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of people with all sorts of different opinions, as there always are in conversations like this. And I like that we can do this respectfully and everybody can voice their opinion. By no means, Myles and I sitting up here with the cameras turned on, do we think that our opinion is right and that anyone else who disagrees with us is wrong? That's not how Without Parole works. We do our absolute best to voice your opinions as well. And that's just what our community is all about. So hopefully everyone understands that.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, Myles says everyone can suck it. I say everyone voice your opinion.
I do not say everybody can suck it. That's not a very British thing. I say everyone can go F themselves.
Oh my God. All right, Myles. let's see some PSVR 20 questions. If anyone doesn't know how this works, I put 6 minutes up on the clock up on the counter. Myles has a PlayStation VR game in that adorable little COVID-stricken head, and and you out there in the chat, and me over here on camera, we have 20 yes or no questions to figure out what PSVR game he's thinking. So please, for the love of God, not only give me good questions, but give me good suggestions about what game it might be based on the answers he gives us. Please tell me, for the love of God, you've picked a game.
Yeah, I've just come up with one. That's
okay.
Good.
Is this hard mode, or is this easy mode? No, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, on my mark, get set, go. Let's do this. Can you use analog sticks in this game?
Oh, man.
Oh, you're AJing the first question. Okay, should I change the question? Does this game...
No, whoa.
I'm gonna reset the clock in a second here.
No.
No analog sticks. Okay, so we're assuming...
I might be absolutely killed for that first answer.
So we're assuming this is moves only, I think. Like that's the assumption I'm getting from that, but we'll see if that's true or not.
This might be the worst 20 questions ever.
We're only on question 1. AJ in the chat says, I taught you well, Myles. Okay, Mancunian GameCat asks, does it have full locomotion?
No.
Okay. No full locomotion, no analog sticks. Don't laugh, because now I'm really nervous that you don't know what you're talking about. Is there a flat screen version of this game? Can you play this game on the flat screen?
No. 3. I feel like by the end of 20 questions, I've just made up my own game.
Yep. Has this developer made other PSVR games?
Let me do a quick check. You might want to pause the clock. I don't know.
I wish I had that option, because I would have paused it a full minute and a half ago.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just quickly looking up now.
It's really weird. I don't have that option to interact with this video. Huh. Hello.
No, they haven't. They haven't done any other games.
Oh shit! I tried to slow down the video. I tried to slow down the timer, but all I did was reset it.
That's it. Reset. That's fine. Let's
okay,
go.
we reset it. I'm sorry. So what you were saying? No other. They didn't make other PSVR
still picking
games.
the game. I'm not. Yeah. They've not done any other PSVR games.
He's picking the game based on my questions.
Yeah.
No.
Basically, I'm trying to guess what the game is based on what Brian asked me.
Okay.
And I answer, and then I have to work out what game I'm thinking of.
Luckily, Wes recommended that we restart the timer, so luckily that happened anyway.
Just like in the movies, when it cuts away from the bomb and it goes back, and it's like, I swear it's been like 2 minutes, and it's like only gone down 5 seconds. Yeah, just like that. Super
Galaxy Godstar says, "Do you shoot guns in this game?" I'm gonna.
No.
Oh well, I'm not gonna adjust that question then. Don't shoot guns. Okay. Is this a puzzle game? Asked Roy Schwartz. No guns, no puzzles. Lots of sirens on my end. Don't mind those. The bomb got a time hike, says Stike Gamer, the VR half game cat. Is there any horror in this game?
No.
No horror elements. Wow, I've got a lot in the no column, but nothing in the yes column. Is there any multiplayer?
No. 8.
I'm starting to not believe you. This game doesn't exist. Is this game more of an experience than a game?
No, it's a game, but I would say it's an experience.
It's a game, but it's an experience.
No, it is an experience. But it has game functionality in it in terms of there's an objective and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Game
9,
but experience. Okay. Oh my God.
I love seeing the chat.
Is this a cartoony game?
Yeah. Yeah.
Finally got something. Okay.
10.
Okay, it can't be Jobsim, guys, because they've made other games. And And oh god, would you put this in a top 25 list, or would it be in consideration?
No.
No.
No way.
Okay.
No way.
So it's not very good. It's
Wait, that wasn't the question.
It's mediocre. It sounds like. Okay.
Yeah.
Ben Dawson asks, "Is this like narrative driven?"
No.
No. Okay.
That's 12.
We know a lot about what this game is not. Zombie asks if it's based on a known IP.
No, it's not.
I've got zero. I've got nothing, you guys. We know that it's cartoony. There's no. Okay, I'll tell you what's not. There's no multiplayer. There's no horror. There's no analog support. We think. There's no full locomotion. It's not based on an IP. There's no flat screen version. This developer hasn't made any other PSVR games. There's no guns. No puzzles. Or it's not a puzzle game. It is cartoony. More of an experience, but there is a game. Yeah. Does this take place in outer space?
No.
Okay. How many?
14.
Okay. My goodness.
Dan, God, he picked the crappiest thing ever. What's the crappiest thing ever?
Do you have any melee weapons in this game?
No. 15.
I mean, this eliminates so much stuff. Jeez. It's not.
I'm going to give you 3 more. I'm going to give you actually 2 more, and then I'm going to give you a clue.
Okay. It can't be Ghost Giant because not puzzles. Man, it's not based on an IP. It can't be Rick and Morty. No multiplayer. No multiplayer. Can't be Rec Room. It can't be Bonfire. Doesn't take place in outer space. Are there zombies in this game? No, it can't be. There's no horror. It's not horror. Not narrative driven, Nick. Okay, did this come out in the first year of PlayStation VR?
I don't think so. Let me check. Yeah, no, I didn't.
Okay. Is there a comedic element to this? Asks AJ.
No, there isn't, and that's 17. I'm going to give you a clue now. The question would be, and I'm not going to count this as a question, is do you control the game only using your head? And the answer is yes.
So the first one that comes to mind is Headmaster, and that's not it because that came out at launch. I can only think of Manifest 99 after that, which is an experience. It's cartoony, but that developer definitely made other VR games. They made Island Time VR. So it's not that.
I would move away from this experience thing because I think this is throwing people off. Like, it is a game.
Okay. Use it only your head. Eagle Flight doesn't only use your head, Scandrel. Zombie, Dan. You have to use the triggers in order to activate certain things. Is this an endless runner type game?
Yeah, it is. That is 18.
Is this do you race down a tube in this game?
You do.
Is this
That's 19.
Is this Vertigo Home?
It is indeed.
Vertigo Home! Holy crap! It's Vertigo Home. At the buzzer as the timer was blowing up.
Nihilist Ryan the Game Feline was there with it first.
Holy
That's why the first one got me, because as soon as you go, does it use analog sticks? And I know that you use the DualShock controller. You use the DualShock controller to start the game, but you don't actually use it in the game. So I was like, I wasn't sure how to answer that.
Wow.
But yeah.
You said there's no full locomotion.
I assumed that means that you're controlling it, or is that not what full locomotion means?
It's a tough one, right? Because if in an endless runner, like you're controlling the movement and you are fully.
Oh yeah.
But no,
true.
I see both sides of that one.
Yeah, you're right. Actually,
it's
all right. We'll never do that game again. We've got it out of the way.
Yeah,
now, so we'll never have to,
hopefully Looper documents that
shit.
again. Yeah, because we should never talk about Vertigo Home ever again. It is kind of cartoony. It's a game, but an experience. Yeah, no, I think you answered everything pretty much on point here.
Did it have zombies in it?
I'm sure it's got like everything in it.
Yeah.
So
And when you said, "Is it spacey?" I was like,
yeah, I'd say yeah, probably takes place.
If
in
you'd
outer
asked
space.
me, is this something you would experience when recovering from COVID? I would have gone, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, yeah, I mean, God, Freddy Go Home. I think this was the first game AJ ever reviewed for Without Parole, and then
I actually like it. I mean, look, it's not my go-to, but I had an all right time
dude,
with it.
if this was like $3.99 or something on the PlayStation
Yes.
Store, I would have been like, yeah, man, this is fun. We've had a lot of fun with it, you know. But I think they were charging like 15 out of the gate. I was like, you're out of your fucking minds, dude. Yeah, Great Tantrum clarifies, no zombies. It has dancing skeletons. That's true.
Just skeletons, yeah.
And guys, want to thank you all for hanging out with us on this glorious Friday evening, or for some of you, Imzadi, Saturday morning. Hopefully everything's going well over there in the wonderful spider-filled land of Australia. Guys, make sure you go subscribe to Myles Dyer over on his YouTube channel when he gets back up and running. You actually did a stream this week, right? You talked about recovering from COVID.
I did, yeah. Partly because I couldn't be bothered to redesign the thumbnail I designed the previous week, saying I'm not doing a show. But yeah, I was just speaking to people about what everyone's experiences are with COVID, because, as I mentioned at the start of this show, the symptoms are so varied, and so is the recovery time. And I know there are some people that are still dealing with it years later. A part of me is worried about certain things sticking around, but yeah, no, it was an all right show. And for GameCast, you probably noticed I've got a bit of a different background now, because I got this shelf put up, which meant I could declutter the bottom, and I've got a nice light that goes around the edge. So yeah, I'm sort of starting to update stuff. I just need to now fill this gap on the wall here, so I'm probably going to get a display with some games. So maybe I'll get a PSVR game or something on that wall. But yeah, I'm bouncing back, and it feels good to be doing live stream again. I've really enjoyed today, and I know we were potentially thinking of doing the top 50 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Glad we're not. That would, yeah. That would have been a big push for me. So I'm pretty confident that this time next week I'll be ready for it, and it's gonna be good. And it also gives me a week just to fill in the gaps of my knowledge. But I will also come, quite humble. That when we're discussing games, if there are games that you three are shouting about and I've not really had a lot of experience of it, of course I'll be willing to concede that that probably deserves to be high up on the thing. Yeah, man. Because please
don't kill yourself over the next week trying to play everything that you missed out on over the last few years. Yeah, absolutely.
I come on Friday's show. I'm blind.
I've been in VR for 97 hours straight. Yeah.
You're like, have you chosen the game for 20 questions? What? Just one game? I can only think of 200.
Guys, and please don't forget, we want you to be as big a part of this as possible. So on September 3rd, when we do the live stream, it's going to be like an all-day thing. So we're going to start earlier in the day than we've ever started really anything. It's probably 10 or 11 a.m. Eastern, and we're just going to go until we finish, which is going to be fucking forever. I apologize, and I apologize to my co-host more than anybody else, because, boy, they don't get paid, and they really fucking should. But make sure you send me your videos withoutparole@gmail.com. Tell me what games you think belong on the list. If you think one game should be higher or never gets on the list that should, whatever it is, however you want to contribute, just point the camera at yourself or your cat or whatever, or your PSVR collection, whatever it is, and say what you want to say. Get your voice heard. I'm going to put it all together in a video, and I'm going to make sure that gets seen multiple times during the course of our super long stream. And make sure you tune in and hang out here live and yell and scream in the chat. So when a game comes up that you want to fight real hard for it.
We'll be doing lots of polls, won't we?
We'll be doing lots of polls. Yeah, I want to just hand over the keys to you so you can run the polls during that show. But guys, really, I guess there we go. But really, thank you guys for hanging out, and thank you, of course, to all of our moderators who work tirelessly, not just over here but on Discord, making sure that all the conversations stay civil, and that we can all just enjoy this time together. Thank you to Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry, who puts the timestamps into the show after the fact. Thank you to Jay Meow, who gets this thing up on podcast services of your choice. We don't promote the podcast version of this nearly as frequently as we should, but Jay Meow is doing great work over there. I mean, and there's so many cats behind the scenes, Serial Killer and Looper, doing all this work for the fan wiki and in the 20 questions database. I mean, just we really have the most amazing community ever. So I want to thank you all. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Thank you everybody who tipped. Thanks to everyone who's trying to get me to Tokyo. Really appreciate that. And of course, thank you to everybody who sat back and watched the show. Didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there and we love you just as much. Myles, let's get out of here.
Bye-bye.
Whoa, we made it, man. We made it to the very end of the show. We made it to the hold screen for a second time. We saw it once.
We did.
Now we're seeing it again.
But Brian,
yes, Myles.
do you know what I hate?
What do you hate?
Well, I hate a lot of things, but
okay.
I really don't like.
Start at the bottom and work your way up. What's the number?
Well,
what's the 10th thing you hate the most?
Oh man, 10. That's too many things to think about right now.
Yeah.
But you know, when I'm playing online games, especially multiplayer games, like a game like Rec Room, maybe I don't like virtual beggars, like people that
virtual
beg
beggars.
for stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's something I hate more than virtual beggars, and it's people that don't listen. You know, when they ask you a question and you answer it, and then they just like carry on as if you never gave an answer in the first place. I mean, sometimes you might feel that way with me during our GAMESCAST.
I mean, it's usually AJ because he's just not paying attention when I talk. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Well, I experienced this on Rec Room not too long ago. It was quite a hurtful experience, but I documented it just so I could share my moment of pain and dismay with the GameCast. So.
Oh my God, it's time for Clip of the Week. Let's check it out.
Do you think you can do... Oh, yeah, I'll tell you. I have about 360.
Wow.
No, 380. Yeah.
That's a good start, though.
Yeah. Do you think you can do me a favor?
Depends what it is, buddy. But if it's begging, I'm going to tell you to go the other way.
Do you think you can gift me the gold mirrored glasses?
Bye.
You're really going to stop playing Rec Room, bud.
Well, it's going to be a top 50. It's a top 50.
Oh. Interesting. I think we're ending on a cliffhanger. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday.
Yeah. Later.
Dan Kiefer says, "Is it Butters?" He's just like Butters.